Life has a strange way of teaching us lessons. Sometimes it's a gentle nudge. Other times, it's a storm that shakes everything we know. This is the story of Ethan Miller, a 16-year-old high school junior in a small American town. Ethan wasn't the most popular kid in school. He wasn't a star athlete. He didn't drive a flashy car, and he didn't sit at the cool kids' lunch table. But what he lacked in popularity, he made up for in kindness. He always held the door open for others. He always said thank you to the cafeteria workers, and he never laughed when someone else was the butt of a joke. To some people, that made Ethan invisible. But to others, it made him a target. The room is loud, filled with chatter, laughter, and the clinking of trays. Ethan sits quietly at his usual spot, flipping through his math notes. Then comes Jake Thompson. Jake was everything Ethan wasn't, the captain of the basketball team, effortlessly charming, and always surrounded by friends. But Jake had one flaw. He loved attention, no matter who got hurt along the way. Jake smirked as he walked past Ethan's table. Loud enough for everyone to hear, he said, "Hey everybody, careful sitting next to Ethan. He cheats on every math test. Pretty soon he'll be selling answers for $5. Laughter erupted. Some kids turned to look, others whispered to each other, and Ethan froze. What? That's not true. I've never cheated in my life. But Jake only grinned wider. He slapped his friend on the back and said,
Sure, that's what every cheater says.
The cafeteria filled with giggles and side glances. In that single moment, Ethan's reputation began to crumble. All it took was one lie, one careless rumor, and the ripple had begun. Rumors are like wildfire. They don't need proof. They don't need evidence. All they need is ears willing to listen. Within a single day, Ethan's world began to change. The teacher, Mrs. Reynolds, passed back graded quizzes. She stopped briefly at Ethan's desk, her eyes lingering on him longer than usual. Ethan felt the weight of suspicion in her glance. It wasn't angry. It wasn't cruel. But it was there. A silent question. Was it true? Later in the hallway, whispers followed him like shadows. Cheater. Liar. Did you hear what Jake said? Everywhere Ethan turned, there were stares. Some pitied him. Some judged him. But not one of them asked him for the truth. 2 days later, in the cafeteria, Ethan carried his tray, searching for a place to sit. But his friends, people he had known since elementary school, looked away when he approached. The chair beside them was suddenly taken. The table was full. So Ethan sat alone, day after day. Isolation. That's what hurt the most. Not the rumor itself, but the silence of those he thought were his friends. At basketball practice, things only grew worse. Coach Daniels, a man Ethan respected, pulled him aside. Coach, firm but hesitant. Ethan, until this whole cheating business clears up, I think it's best you sit out for a while. We can't risk the team's reputation. Ethan's heart sank. Basketball wasn't just a sport to him. It was his escape, his joy, his one place of belonging. And now, even that was gone. Late at night in the bedroom, he sat at his desk staring at his textbooks, but the numbers blurred together, meaningless. Tears filled his eyes as he whispered to himself, "No one believes me. No one even asked. They just
assumed. While sitting in the living room with his mom, Mrs. Miller, she noticed the dark circles under his eyes, the slump in his shoulders. "Mom, honey, talk to me. What's going on?" Ethan, "Mom, it doesn't matter what I say. Everyone already thinks I'm a liar. Even Coach, even my friends. It's like the truth doesn't matter anymore." Mrs. Miller knelt in front of him, cupping his face in her hands. "Listen to me. Truth always matters. Lies run fast, but truth has endurance. It might take time, but it never loses. You have to hold on, Ethan. Don't let a lie define who you are." Ethan nodded, but in his heart, the doubt still lingered. And so, the rumor grew. The lie spread its roots deeper. Strangling Ethan's spirit, he was sinking, and no one seemed to notice. But every storm, no matter how fierce, eventually brings a turning point.
When life pushes us down, it whispers two choices: stay there or rise. For Ethan, the choice wasn't clear, but fate has a way of sending us the right person at the right time. In the English class, Mrs. Thompson, one of the oldest teachers in the school, noticed Ethan's silence. His once bright answers were gone. His essays, usually filled with detail, had become short, lifeless paragraphs. After class, she stopped him. Mrs. Thompson, gentle and firm. "Ethan, may I have a word?" Ethan froze, expecting another lecture, another subtle reminder of the rumor. But Mrs. Thompson's eyes weren't suspicious. They were kind. "Mrs. Thompson, Ethan, you've been quiet lately, quieter than usual. That tells me something is weighing on you." Ethan shrugged. "It doesn't matter. No one believes me anyway." Mrs. Thompson leaned forward. "Ethan, lies are loud, but the truth has a way of outlasting them. If you know who you are, don't let anyone else's words take that away from you. Stand for your truth, even if your voice shakes." Ethan stared at her. No one had said that to him before, and in that moment, a small spark of courage lit inside him. Later that week, Ethan saw a flyer. "Student Assembly, open mic, share your voice." He stood there frozen. Could he really do it? Could he stand in front of the entire school and tell his side? That night, he sat at his desk, staring at a blank page. He picked up his pen. He hesitated. Then, slowly, the words came. In the auditorium, packed with students, chatter fills the air. Ethan's name was called. He walked onto the stage, his hands trembling, his heart pounding like a drum. For a moment, he thought about turning back. But then, he remembered Mrs. Thompson's words, "Even if your voice shakes." Ethan stepped up to the microphone. He took a shaky breath and spoke. Ethan's voice nervous, but growing stronger. "I know many of you think I cheated. Some of you probably laughed when you heard it. Some of you believed it right away. But I want you to ask yourself something. Did you see it happen, or did you just hear it from someone else?" The crowd quieted. Whispers died down. That's the thing about rumors. They don't need proof. They just need someone willing to spread them, and others willing to believe. A rumor may seem small, just a joke, just a story, but its damage is bigger than you think. Because of a rumor, I lost my team. I lost my friends. I lost myself. And all of it because of words that weren't even true. The room was silent now. Every eye was on Ethan. He swallowed, his voice steady now. Today, it's me. Tomorrow, it could be you. So before you pass on a story, before you laugh at someone else's pain, ask yourself, am I spreading truth or am I spreading poison? Ethan stepped back, chest heaving, palms sweaty. For a long moment, there was silence. Then, applause. It started with one student, then another, and soon the entire auditorium was clapping. For the first time, Ethan's voice cut through the noise of gossip, and something began to change.
The truth has a strange power. At first, it feels small, like a candle flickering in the dark, but once lit, it grows, and the darkness cannot hide forever. After the assembly, in the crowded hallway, students whispered, not about Ethan this time, but about Jake. One, did you hear Ethan? He sounded serious. The other, yeah, and come to think of it, I never actually saw him cheat. Did you? No, I just heard it from Jake. The ripple was shifting. The lie that once drowned Ethan was now circling back to its source. Around the gym locker room, Jake sat on the bench, scrolling through his phone. But this time, instead of laughter, his screen was filled with comments from classmates. Not cool, man. Did you really make that up? Why'd you do Ethan like that? Jake's confident grin faded. For the first time, he was on the receiving end of judgment. In the principal's office, Jake was called in the next morning. Ethan sat across from him, quiet but calm. Principal. Jake, several students came forward. They said you admitted to starting the rumor. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Jake's shoulders slumped. He looked at Ethan, then at the floor. Jake, I thought it was just a joke. I didn't think it would get this far. I didn't think it would hurt him like this.
The principal folded her hands. Words matter, Jake. Rumors matter. You owe Ethan an apology, not just here, to the entire school. In the school assembly, 1 week later, Jake stood nervously at the same microphone where Ethan once stood. The crowd buzzed, waiting. Jake said, I want to apologize to Ethan and to all of you. I made up the story about him cheating. I thought it was funny, but it wasn't. It was cruel, and I see that now. He glanced at Ethan, his voice cracking. I'm sorry, Ethan. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Some students crossed their arms, others nodded slowly. Apologies don't erase the damage, but they are the first step toward healing. Ethan stood, walked to the stage, and faced Jake. Jake, words aren't just words. They can break people, or they can build them. I accept your apology, but I hope you remember, next time, think before you speak. The auditorium was silent. Then, applause erupted, once again. This time, not just for Ethan, but for the lesson they had all just witnessed. And so, the truth surfaced. The rumor lost its grip, and Ethan's strength, his courage to speak, changed not just his life, but the way his classmates understood the power of their words.
When a storm finally passes, the world feels different. The sky is clearer, the air is lighter. And for Ethan Miller, life after the rumor was never the same. The sound of sneakers squeaked against polished wood of the basketball court after the school. Coach Daniels clapped his hands, calling the team to gather. All right, boys, listen up. Ethan, grab your jersey. You're back on the team. And let me just say, I'm proud of you. Not for basketball, but for standing tall when it mattered most. Ethan's teammates clapped and cheered. For the first time in weeks, Ethan felt the weight lift from his shoulders. During the lunchtime in the cafeteria, Ethan sat at his usual spot. Only this time, he wasn't alone. One by one, his friends returned.
One said, apologetically, "Ethan, I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't have believed it without asking you." The other said, "Yeah, we should have had your back. Won't happen again." Ethan smiled faintly. "It's all right. Just remember how this felt. Words matter." Later that evening at home, Ethan sat at his desk, notebook open. But instead of math problems, he was writing. His mom peeked in. "Curious?" Ethan shook his head. "No, just my story. I think people need to hear it." His mom walked over, placed her hand on his shoulder, and whispered, warm and proud, "They will, because truth always finds a way." And so Ethan's journey left behind more than just a memory. It left a message that a single rumor can destroy a reputation, but a single act of courage can rebuild it. That lies travel fast, but truth travels far. And that each of us, every single one, carries the power to choose whether our words tear others down or lift them up. Remember this: every word you speak creates ripples, and those ripples shape the world around you. Choose wisely.
If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more powerful stories. Because sometimes the right story at the right time can change someone's life.